Yes, that's the biggest focus all through the day. From Karnataka to Kerala to Telangana, the fountainhead of hate triggered a series of Hindu killings linked to the BJP and the RSS. They were murdered in cold blood, bludgeoned to death and persecuted. Praveen Netaru, Harsha, Sanjeet, Ranjit Srinivas, and the list goes on. There are several others who had to pay with their lives because they were staunch followers of a political ideology. Now, the saffron was always on the red list of the PFI. It's a fact that everyone knows. Operation Octopus, which acted as the precursor to the ban on PFI, struck the radical group where it hurts the most. The operation, led by the NI and also by the Enforcement Directorate, carried out searches against the PFI at 93 locations across 15 states. At least 106 PFI members and their alleged associates were arrested. The nationwide crackdown, in fact, continued yesterday as well. Raids were carried out across 8 states yesterday. Over 250 PFI workers, once again, along with some of their associates, were either detained or arrested. In the national capital, for example, over 30 PFI workers were arrested. In Karnataka, over 75 workers were detained. In Assam, for example, over 25 PFI workers were detained, while 44 associates were detained in the state of Uttar Pradesh. But what really prompted the centre to dismantle PFI was its active role in fanning communal fire to target harmony. It was on a mission to establish Islamic rule in India by 2047. The blueprint was found in Bihar. Remember, we're talking about the Ghazwa-Ind plot by the PFI, of the PFI. PFI members instigated violence also during eviction drive in Assam's Darang. In Kerala's Alappuzha, for example, a minor was given death threats, was heard giving death threats to Hindus and Christians in a PFI rally. 3 PFI members furthermore were, remember, arrested for mobilizing riot mob in Kanpur. The student wing, furthermore, of the PFI, remember, could be seen instigating students and escalated the hijab hangama in the state of Karnataka. So those are a series of events essentially, and that's exactly why trouble has been mounting for the PFI. Now, if we talk about the incriminating proof, now this is the proof that the investigating agencies have unearthed. They have in fact submitted during the course of these raids, and the bundles of cash that have been recovered by the PFI for you to see. And this is the PFI dossier, the hate dossier that we're talking about, wherein this book is about Hindu terrorism on minorities. So those are the details that we're talking about, the recoveries that have been made all through the searches that were carried out in 2 rounds. Now we talk about this book. This is an excerpt, a screenshot of what the book reads. It is about counter-revolution. This too has been recovered by the NI. So these are questionable texts that essentially have been recovered by the NI. And this one is the document, the hate dossier that we're talking about, which talks about, it's a manual on how to make IEDs. Now we're talking about PFI that claims to be a social front, a social outfit, and that's exactly how the social outfit, quote unquote, is operating. This is the 2 Lawrence LHR 80s, the walkie-talkies in common language, that also has been recovered during the searches, once again by the NI. So there is the terror funding angle that the Enforcement Directorate is probing, and these are the incriminating evidences that have come in the hands of the national investigating agencies, knives and knuckle dusters as well. Now the question is, how is it that these kind of incriminating evidences, incriminating gadgets have been found with PFI leaders at the premises of several PFI linked properties? That's the question that we're asking this evening, and viewers, it's extremely important to have some of these answers to these questions, and for that we have our experts joining us this evening. Colonel Dinny, a defense expert with us. Also with us is Desh Ratan Nigam and Ehtesham Hashmi, both of whom are very respected lawyers. If I could begin with you, Ehtesham Hashmi, you know, we're talking about a series of incidents that have come to light. Talk about the Ghazwa-Ind plot hatched by the PFI, the conspiracy by the PFI, you know, to come out with an Islamic rule by 2047. Talk about their role that came to light with regards to anti-CA protests in the national capital, Northeast Delhi riots. There is a whole list of PFI's involvement, and despite all of that, the PFI is calling this a witch hunt. How does that get explained or justified in any way?
Thank you so much for inviting me to this debate. I just want to ask a simple question to all the viewers and to ruling government and opposition. Is hatred is essential for nationalism? Do we really need an object to hate to prove our nationalism? Though I am not disputing the fact that PFIA may be or may not be involved in anti-national activities, and national investigating agencies are doing their job at the very best. And the main allegation against PFI that they want to convert India into a Muslim nation and so-called Ghazwa-e-Hind, though I have not seen this kind of a statement from NIA officials. Ghazwa-e-Hind is just a false propaganda initiated by right wings. And second allegation against PFI that they are having unaudited money from India and outside India, and they are having foreign funding. And they are involved in anti-national
but
activities.
the terror angle does come in, right? If we're talking about a social outfit, as the PFI claims itself to be, then what are these kind of small arms doing with anybody who has anything to do with the PFI? These walkie-talkies that have been recovered during the searches by the NI, this document that talks about how you have to make IEDs, sir. What does that who have to do anything with regards to, working for the betterment of a community has to do with all of this that has been recovered?
I am with my nation, and security and national integrity is the paramount consideration for us and for National Investigating Agency. I just want to say that on the grounds on which PFI is being investigated and PFI members has been arrested by NIA, on the similar grounds, RSS officials should also be arrested and RSS should be banned. Here I would like to quote Yashwant Shinde. He was the member of RSS and Vishwa Hindu Parishad. Yashwant Shinde filed a dedicated affidavit before Session Court Nanded, and he said on oath with an affidavit that RSS is involved in executing bomb blasts.
What we've seen all through the day is how, there has been an RSS angle that has been brought in, that has been pushed in all through the day without focusing on what really have been the findings of these days. I want a response from Desh Ratan Nigam, and then I'll come back to you. We don't have as much time. Mr. Desh Ratan Nigam, the final nail in the coffin was, of course, the pan-India nationwide crackdown on PFI, both Part 1 and Part 2 of the Operation Octopus that led to arrest of hundreds of PFI leaders. Now, there are grounds for the arrests that have been made. Sources in the NI say that searches were conducted in these premises of people involved in terror funding, organizing training camps, radicalizing people to join proscribed organizations. But there has been this whole ecosystem drawing equivalence between the PFI and the RSS. Why do you think that's happening?
Well, Amita, in fact, throughout the year, on the subject of PFI, I have been to numerous debates, and everybody, the panelists of the opposition or otherwise, said why the government is not banning the PFI. They were challenging the government of the day to, ban PFI. Now, when the government has taken a decision after carefully drafted strategy, monitoring everything and the nationwide raids, they have banned it, then they have a problem. In order to dilute the allegations or the evidences that has unearthed in these raids, the name of the RSS is being brought about. RSS is a nationalist organization. It believes in making India a Vishwaguru and has been there in the forefront of all the calamities, whether natural or otherwise. And we talk of social harmony. Yes, the concept of Bhagwa Atangwad was brought in by the Congress at that point of time. If Kasab was not arrested, he would have been declared a Hindu because he was with a kalava on his hand. It is a very, standard operating procedure for the people to bring in the name of RSS without any evidences or proof.
Okay.
Not a single person has been convicted. Now in 2010, the government in Kerala declared in a report that PFI is a dangerous terrorist organization. Manmohan Singh's government in 2013 also said so, exactly the same thing. They did not bring in RSS. RSS was not even considered in those reports. And therefore, to bring the name of RSS is only, in a very, surreptitious manner and in a backhand manner trying to dilute the seriousness of the offences committed by the PFI.
In one sentence, Mr. Desh Ratan Nigam, the kind of allegations that are being levelled against the RSS or this comparison that is being drawn, if you just want to give an answer and talk about if ever in the history, the 3 times that a ban has been placed on the RSS, has any of this been found, any of this incriminating evidence during searches, investigation, etc.? Just one statement, one sentence on that.
Yes, let me tell you, when the name of RSS was brought in Gandhi's assassination, the report FIR did not name RSS, the charge sheet did not name RSS, and the judgment also did not name RSS, and therefore the ban was lifted. The way, as soon as it was imposed, it was lifted. During emergency, RSS did oppose, and many of the leaders went underground and they were working against the government.
And it's never been a political outfit ever since. I'm going to have to quickly take in a word from Colonel Dinny because I don't have as much time. Thank you for sharing that perspective, Mr. Nigam. Colonel Dinny, the biggest takeaway is, of course, how this is a crackdown on anti-national elements. The allegations were that the PFI is involved in terrorism camps and asking youth to join terror activities. And that gets solidified with this dossier that we've accessed, which reveals how manuals were being distributed on how to make IDs. Forget everything else.
Oh, absolutely, and there's no doubt that, what happens is that when you talk of terrorism, the first thing which comes to the mind is, AK-47, IEDs, bombs and blasts. But this form of terrorism is that they are within the system. Now, what is happening now, and you can see what is the narrative being now made. When I say the terrorism is within the system, is that you will find this kind of, people with this mindset in whether they are in journalists, whether they are in lawyers, whether doctors, everywhere. That is why you find educated people from Kerala going to, join ISIS and abroad. So what happens is that it is very difficult to identify who is part of this this system. Now, in Kashmir, what happens is that the terrorists are seen, they are visible, the guns are visible, but the overground workers are invisible. In a place like Kerala, the terrorists are invisible, the people who are holding the gun, but the other overground workers are visible. And at this point, they're trying to whitewash PFI and saying that it should be equated or equivalent should be there with other organizations. So what they're trying to do, a final word is, they're trying to break the social fabric of our country. I think the ban on the PFI has come just in the right time. Any more delay would have caused irreparable damage to our country.
All right. And what happens next is also extremely important. And I wish I had time to take in a word from our esteemed lawyers on this. Is there hope for the PFI to escape this heat? Because within 30 days, the MHA will have to refer its notification to the UAPA tribunal, and thereafter final word will come in. But I'll have to leave it at that with you, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast.